Count, sir. 1, 2,
All right,
3.
3, go.
There
Hey,
you go.
everyone. This is Andreas, Pop Culture Guy. We're here today for another spectacular and dreadful review on Dead City. See what I did there? Anyway.
Dreadful or dreadful?
And
No, not
Dreadful.
tonight. It's not tonight. Not dreadful tonight, sir.
No, that's true. I gotta say, this was not dreadful. People, we just announcing we have our first and only good episode of this season. And it's a miracle. And that's crazy for a Monday. You know, Mondays is always like, oh my God, here's work, here's cooking, dinner, and then Dead City, and then wait, Dead City's good? I'm like, hell yeah, it's good. So I'm here today, moderating this my week. I'm here with my great co-host Jeff, of course, for MC Billy Edge. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm fabulous, sir. I'm just happy to be here with such wonderful, guest creators with us tonight. You know, it's a highlight to be doing Dead City and actually have people on with us to talk about this show. So
Yes.
I'm doing good, sir.
Yes, and by the way, I like that you're all green. You know,
I'm wearing my Daryl Dixon shirt, sir.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah,
We
that's the
kids
shirt
are
he
bad.
gave us.
I love that.
It's really cool. I have it in my closet. It's really great.
For a minute in time there, like the killer nuns were like a thing, like on the pop culture radar, for a blip.
Yeah.
That's
That was it was cool. And speaking of joining us today, we're back again with two great hosts here from the Squatting Dead, Dave and Bridget. How you guys doing?
Great. We're a little exhausted, I think.
And, yeah,
Having just
I'm super
tried to
tired.
discuss everything from this episode. Yeah.
They just did their show, so
Oh, yeah.
we should be super gracious and feel blessed that they're willing to record and then double record.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we're just appreciative of being invited, honestly.
Oh
Same.
well,
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not the only podcast out there that reaches out to Squawking Dead for guest invites. So
You're one of like two.
Oh my God.
She says that, but we do. I literally had to turn somebody down today.
I'm surprised there's
Who
not
is
more.
this guy?
I'm surprised there's not more Walking Dead commiserating. You know what I mean? Like amongst the different creators.
Truth is, we should be doing a little bit more outreach, but we've collaborated with many people before, but I think it's been kind of a slog between The Last of Us and we just got off of Dark Winds covering that show, the slog of The Last of Us with overlapping with Dead City, and we went to a convention one weekend, so that really screwed us up, and so we're just kind of happy to kind of take it easy for a little while after all this.
Yeah.
We understand.
Happy with you guys. I'm excited to talk about this episode, which apparently not everybody hated. So that's
that's good.
At one point, I was going live 3 times a week because I was going live twice with Walking Dead, and
I'll
then I was going live on my own channel. So it was just like it's kind of a lot.
I give you guys both credit for covering that Dead Wind show. I mean, I don't think anybody else really has covered it, but you guys. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of information about it. It was really cool, and AMC gave us screeners, which was awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So
and now it's getting like FYC. It's for your considerations.
Yeah.
So it's turning out to be kind of a boon for us too. So it's been great. It's been great talking about it, and glad it's getting the recognition. It's not for everybody, but it might be for some.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. We never know. You never know what you're going to cover every year. You know what I mean? So you never know. It could come across our radar eventually. If we don't have anything else to do. You never know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're actually doing Andre's turned me on to the new dairy based HBO show that's coming out. That seems like it would be right up you guys' alley.
Yeah, I'm
that would be up my alley for sure. Yeah, that would be up my alley for sure.
Well, and I'm getting buzz on. Let me see, what's the show called? On Sci-Fi, there's a show called Revival that I've been hearing more buzz about, but I'm curious to know what that's like.
I haven't sci-fi hasn't been on my radar TV show wise for a while.
I haven't paid attention to it since Z Nation was on. Honestly,
yeah, me too. That's what I used to pay attention.
The last thing I paid attention to.
Wait, what about
I watched the shit out of Z Nation when it came out. I did.
I loved it. I don't care how cheesy it was. It was
very watchable.
Yeah, it was very fun and great casting, just excellent casting.
Yeah,
It was too,
I
yeah.
didn't notice that. I've been spoken this before about my special ed teacher that I had in high school also watched C Nation. She always brought that up when we were discussing the original Walking Dead, and I heard good things about it. I was like, huh, and I never got the chance to do it. And
It's a fun, like campy
Really?
romp through the zombie apocalypse. Yeah, it was really great. And Netflix dropped the ball here, but there was a spinoff that was much darker called Black Summer, that was also by
I heard that.
Asylum, and that Black Summer was a phenomenal. And unfortunately, they dropped it.
It's insane that they dropped it too. It was so
It was
good.
doing well, so I don't really get it, but that's Netflix.
I just watched a video about sci-fi and kind of like how their TV shows have really fallen off in like the last since Battlestar Galactica and all that, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, the expense, you know, they've really dropped off, you know, to where like, you know, the network's almost in question kind of almost now, you know.
Yeah,
I've heard absolutely nothing about original content from them in years.
No.
There are some good shows that are on there. Like you had said, Z Nation, and honestly, I raise you The Expanse, which originally started on Sci-Fi, but then moved to Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
incredible show. Happy, I think, started on Sci-Fi as well. Happy with an exclamation at the end with Chris Maloney.
That was a good show, I heard. Yeah.
And Battlestar Galactica was like, you know, one of the top TV shows of its era. You know what I mean? You know, as far as popularity goes, you know,
that was phenomenal for a reboot alone. It was so great. It was so good.
I could go back and rewatch that tomorrow. You know, and literally it would not bother me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, those first like 2 seasons of it are outstanding.
Yeah, they really are.
And another really horror thing that I know it was like co-crossing with the channel because Universal owned USA and Sci-Fi. Chucky was the major one that me and Jeff were covering over my channel. That was like my first live stream stuff.
That's some standing power,
yeah. Yeah. So that was like the last thing I had before I switched to something else for the TV. Cable when I was watching Sci-Fi. So yeah, it was kind of sad.
That's the only Parliament Plus thing we've ever really done is Chucky.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of TV show over my channel, it's become a trend. I mean, everyone is cutting down their content because of, you know, the streaming stuff or, you know, the economic stuff and, you know, the writer strikes and all the strikes that we had.
I don't mean to you know, to talk out of turn, but I do want to point out, you know, because I think it's a good conversational piece that I don't know how you expect some of these, these cable TV networks to compete with some of these budgets on some of these streaming service TV shows. Like Andor was $275 million for season 2. You know, now I love Andor. Don't get me wrong, but that is a lot of fucking money, man, for a fucking 12 episode television show, man. That's like what 20 you know, $15-18 million an episode or something like that. That's fucking ridiculous.
Just about
more than that. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, man, and like, you can't expect you know, these networks to be able to compete with those kind of costs on your average television show. You know, I mean, as much as HBO spends on their content, they don't go that high.
I think the expectation of quality is so different now too. Like, you know, you're seeing less people really want to watch the lower budget sitcom-y kind of thing because they could be watching like a well-produced, you know, high level production drama or even comedy that's done by one of these streaming platforms that would be considered better. So yeah, it's television's in a weird era.
Well, kind of like the way movies were beforehand too. Like everybody stopped going to theaters slowly by inch.
Yeah.
And TV's now kind of going through the same thing. And Bridget every now and again brings up on our show how that will translate to like all the services that you have to maintain in order to watch a show, and it really wears on consumer audiences because you have to pay for Discovery Plus with a Hulu package, and then Max.
There's a revival of physical media right now. Like people are purchasing DVDs used from thrift stores to have like a DVD collection because it costs so much to try to maintain like keeping up with what's popular.
It can be very expensive. It's actually more expensive now, post cord, with cord cutting and cable and everything to maintain, some form of cable now, and then also have your streaming, it's actually more. It costs more now than it did before 10, 15 years ago.
Well, actually, I have a very strong recommendation. They do not have sci-fi on this streaming service, but this is my number one streaming service. If you're looking for a cable substitute, it's called Philo. It's Philo.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's like $22 a month. You get I
have that.
So many channels. I have it. I love it. And they do not pay me, but they should.
Yeah.
for plugging their service.
Philo.com/PunkyBrewster. That's
yeah.
I have YouTube TV. I think it's probably similar,
Oh, it's insane. But YouTube TV is insanely expensive.
It's gotten more expensive, yeah. Especially if you want high def.
Oh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, Philo has been great. I've been thank goodness it has I can save my favorite shows and movies.
Yeah, it has its own DVR function. I love
it. And that's how I usually watch my Walking Dead. Because they have the AC, which is good. But yeah, I guess let's get into it. Dead City, let's get into it now.
Good call.
Because we have said before it's a good episode. I was kind of shocked. I will do very quick, a very good episode. A quick red robin from all of you, your thoughts on this episode. What you thought about this episode, and then what's your expectation now for the last episode next week? Hopefully it will land, because I saw the preview for next week, and I gotta say I'm pretty excited. Temporarily excited. I'm I don't know what they're gonna do, but I think they're maybe heading in a good direction, maybe. But we'll see. Let me start with you, Dave. What you thought about this episode and your expectations for next week's finale?
So how I felt watching it the first time around, we're just gonna be boring. There was excitement, there was some tension. I know there's many of you who probably do not like Maggie. I have to put this disclaimer up. Some people do, some people didn't like that Lauren Cohan left the show, blah, 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 all that disclaimer stuff. For me, I didn't feel those things, even though I'll admit there maybe is a little bit of part of me that says, well, if you are going to take somebody off of the show or she's going to leave the show, then you kind of have to make her, when she comes back, make it really good. You got to write her way back into the show so people can love the audiences. And I think this episode gave me a little of that. It showed the depths of despair. I might as well check out. And Negan is echoing the same things in this episode. There's a lot of back and forth between the two. And so feeling that with every single scene and feeling the depths of I could just check out right now, the world would be better off. On top of all the little bits of excitement, running into walkers with Negan and hitting his head on the sink here and doing all these little things that happened throughout this episode that got me really heart palpitating. They could go and they want to go. I was very excited. And then of course the twist at the end after everything we just went through. I'm exhausted like Maggie in this episode. and then you get to the end and then there's a twist and then she gets knocked out instead of passing out. So I very much enjoy this. And where this could go? Well, with that twist, if that's an indicator of how far they're willing to go, first of all, showing child walkers in this episode. And then probably more of a question, is this to say that Herschel drew Maggie to the Dama so that the Dama could do what he just couldn't? That question might not be answered just yet, but I wonder what you guys think.
A lot of thoughts I'm thinking right now, but
sick.
It's just crazy. Jeff, let me get to you, sir. What are your thoughts on this episode, and what's your expectation for next week?
Oh, well, I mean, really, to be honest with you, with the track record of this show so far in 2 seasons, I mean, who the fuck knows what'll happen with the finale? You know what I'm saying? It could be fucking terrible. It could be, fucking good. You know what I'm saying? Let me who the fuck knows? It's a wild card at this point. It's what if there's one word that Dead City has not been one word you could throw out there, it's consistency. Dead City has not been a consistent television show, at all. You know what I mean? Which was one of the strengths of The Walking Dead was that it was a consistent, reliable television show that was watchable. You knew who the main characters were, you know what I mean, and who you liked and who you didn't like, and whatever. Episode 7 was the best episode of Dead City I've ever seen. You know,
I agree. I said that.
Yeah,
it's my favorite episode, at least of the season. 100%.
Yeah, it's the best episode of Dead City I've ever seen. You know, they did it was the best job they've ever done of staggering the two storylines of Maggie's and Negan's in an episode, and then having them in a duality, bouncing off each other, kind of in their own storylines. You know what I'm saying? Doing their own thing. But having it work together. For like a cohesive, watchable, entertaining, suspenseful, fear-inducing, at times, kind of show, television episode, they pulled that off for once really well in this episode. They nailed it 100%. The dialogue was great. The dialogue has never really been the problem with the show. To be honest with you, I mean, it's never like been a huge strength either. I wouldn't say, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that it's like, the drama aspect of the show really is anything, stands out really at all. But overall, I think the writing has never really been the problem. I think the problem has been the secondary characters in the show really that weren't there so much in this episode. It's amazing how strong this episode was when you took away, Herschel Jr. and, the New Babylon and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? And strip the show down just to, Maggie and Negan, out there doing the kind of shit we already talked about when we did the episode together before, the basic shit, like looking for food, looking for medicine, exploring the fucking New York City, you know what I'm saying? Going into old abandoned buildings and shit, you know what I mean? Standard Walking Dead fare, you know what I'm saying? That's just basic shit, but it's entertaining, it leads to interesting shit like the walkers and shit like that, good use of the walkers again. Way to get them injecting them, scary again in the show, They were a really good villain for the episode. You know what I'm saying? The walkers were,
100%.
They did this is 10 plus years since the original infection day from the original Walking Dead, right? So the scene where Negan walked through the room full of the fucking children walkers, just sitting there, standing there, and all that shit. That's some new shit, you know what I mean? But it's cool, you know what I'm saying? You could do that, because we're post a fucking original Walking Dead now. You could do some different shit with the walkers. Why not? You know what I'm saying? You're not hurting anybody or in any way affecting the image of the original show or anything like that by going in different directions with the walkers. You know what I'm saying? I like what Daryl Dixon's done with walkers, on their show. And, the ones who lived did a good job with walkers, I like seeing them, use them exclusively the way they did in episode 7. I thought they were really, really solid. They look great, very menacing in this episode. They weren't just completely pussy, walkers in other episodes of Dead City where you see Negan and Maggie just walking around them and shit. You know what I mean? Not even killing them.
But literally, I think that would be a cool concept, a pussy walker. I just really want to see one now. But then they'd have to blur it out. I don't know. It's not that kind of show.
Maybe they'll have walkers.
Maybe a webisode.
Maybe they'll have walkers having sex or something like that in the finale.
Go out with a bang, literally.
For shock value.
Give us the Walking Dead Eyes White Shot. I think that would be great.
I still don't understand how anybody.
That's a new spinoff. The Walking Dead Eyes Wide Shut.
How did these people believe that the walkers were fighting each other in the ring or whatever? You know what I'm saying? When they had the fucking walker fights, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? That's so how could you not know that's a dude in a fucking walker suit or whatever? Come on now. You know what I'm saying? But now they had some cool shit going on in episode 7. They had at the hospital, they had some walkers that ran fast, in the background and shit like that a couple times, that was cool. You know what I mean? They never actually showed one running fast, at anybody really, you know what I mean? But they had one running, in the background. I dug that, There's some really good shit that happened in episode 7 of Dead City. This is probably the best episode of Dead City for Maggie that she's had on the show.
Yeah, I'll agree.
The suicidal, depression, along with her fear of heights, shit affecting her, shit in the episode was deep and, and interesting, it really kind of gave her some solid, character building, kind of in the show a little bit, and I felt like Negan was at his best, honestly, kind of vulnerable and like, emotional, and like, hallucinating and all that shit. And, it was good to see him kind of back in action, he's good when he's like, the anti-hero and like, doesn't afraid to like, doesn't want to kill like children walkers and shit like that. Cause he's like a good guy, that kind of shit. So, that's it. That's all I got to say, sir. Good. It was a really good episode. There's, for once, there's actually a lot of superlatives to drop, about the episode of Dead City. And, as far as the finale goes, again, I have no idea. Like, we'll see what happens. I mean, I saw that promo for the finale just like you did, and it looks like they're bringing everybody back for the finale. All the characters are back. I'm sure Ginny will be back.
Yeah. Yeah, I agreed. It's just crazy that this is the episode. It was like, oh, they find their like footing, which is crazy, But I mean, it happens with a lot of shows. I mean, I just want to remind people like The Office didn't became what it was until like what couple seasons. Same thing with Parks and Recreation. 2. Yeah, season 2 and Parks and Recreation like
season 2.
Yeah, season 2. So yeah, I hope that we will get a third season because
didn't Seinfeld take like 3 seasons to really like catch?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why season 4 is so good, so great. That was when the show is like that was Seinfeld, But we're not there yet. I'll talk about our favorite shows, but Bridget, it's your turn. What you thought about this episode and any like speculation or expectation about
Bridget,
next week's episode?
What did you think about this episode, Bridget?
So I just came off like a 2-hour-long tirade about how I did not like this episode. Not really. I didn't hate this episode. I didn't love it either. To me, this was not the best episode. I thought some of the writing was sloppy. There were things I really loved. Do not get me wrong. I wanted Negan, like where Negan's story was going, like that's just what I wanted more of. I even liked the bits with the Croat. I thought that was really great, but I struggled to wrap my head around like Maggie being so tired that she couldn't stand up. Like I was just like, dude, this is dumb. Like, is she drugged? Like, what's happening? So I was struggling with that. But other than that, the episode was fine. I'm furious that the Dama is back. I hate her.
Hated the Dama.
I hate her.
She was scary looking though. Scary looking.
She has a horrible haircut now, which is classic for The Walking Dead, and she dresses like Uncle Fester, and I cannot handle that. And so I'm like just super over her. So to see her like dumb half short, half long hair, and she's like looking all angry in the preview for next week, which I didn't watch, but I just saw like a clip of the very beginning. I was like, I hate this woman so much. I don't want to see her anymore. But
I love it. I love that you hate it too.
I guess. And you know what? I said this at the end of our episode, but this episode was missing one thing, and that was Bruegel, in my opinion. Bruegel has been an absolute delight for me this season.
Kim Coates.
I love Kim Coates. I think his crazy New York accent has been insane and off the wall, and I absolutely love it.
Deserves to be the better show.
But say the line, Bridget. I'm a bad guy now.
Tap it. Oh, that's the line I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, well, you got it. Good enough.
I love Bruegel, so I was missing him, and so I'm looking forward to more Bruegel in next episode. I don't know where this is going to go to leave me feeling like satiated with this season. I want to see the Dama do something. I'm tired of subterfuge. Like, I want to see real hands-on. Like, why are people afraid of you, dude? Why? Because you were a critic? Like, get over yourself. I want to see you actually do something.
Bridget's thing is unearned clout. Dama has unearned clout.
Unearned clout, 100%. Like, who are you, lady?
I disagree, but it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine, Dave. So that's what I want to see. I want to see the Dama actually do something in order for me to feel like good about this season. If we're going to be afraid of her, I need a reason why. And honestly, I don't want any more of the like random deaths to characters I don't care about.
I agree.
Is Benjamin Pierce part of that? But you kind of do care about her.
If Benjamin Pierce is the one to die, I'm going to be like, wow, okay, great. Like, oh, you're going to kill another character that I don't care about. Excellent. It's not that I like he's fine. It's just like you don't have any time to get to know him. So what does it matter? And it's that trying to give you that shock value without hurting her. Like, oh, don't want another Glenn because then you guys might stop watching. Dude, the people who are watching now, it's like, just do it. We're ready for it. I've been hurt. I'm ready to be hurt again. You know?
Hurt me, baby.
That's how I feel.
Draw blood.
Wow, that was sporadic. I can see this that can work so much better than the deaths we got because of Negan, the connection. You know, like I feel like if they do that, I think that would be a really, really interesting and complex psychological like direction to take Negan. You know, this episode did such a good job of like explaining Negan's point of view, and like this episode is like, The Last of Us season 2 had a hard time to really get us into the mind of Ellie as a character, and that was the fault of season 2, right? This episode did such a good job of getting me into the mind of like Negan so much more. Like, I was surprised. Like we have hints of like the family, and this season, I remember he was talking about how he lost this daughter or wife, I guess, of cancer, and and it hit me like personal because unfortunately my dad is one of them, and I completely like sympathize Negan, like I got why he's doing this, why he's protecting his family. I think that was one of the things that I was like, yes, we need that. Like a good example of this, the one we did Witcher series, when we got the background for Abraham, when why he was gonna like just killed himself because his family died during the apocalypse. But then unfortunately, whoever that, I forgot the guy's name, but
Eugene.
Eugene, thank you. Eugene, tricked him, protecting him, it gave, because he tricked him that he had the answer for the apocalypse, that he can
gave him a purpose.
Yeah, and that was so interesting to hear that background. And then it's in the same episode where he finds out that it was not true. And that was like really like it was such good stuff here. And I thought that was when Jeff talked about like bring like the old OG, like this was like OG Walking Dead storytelling, which I love. So just quickly my thoughts on this episode. I'm kind of like, I like this episode. I'm in between. I think this episode was like, this is what the city should have been. I think that separating Negan and Maggie to do certain things, like as Jeff was talking about, more like zombie, tropes and like stuff that we've seen before that, does work, and that episode did that, seeing Maggie trying to find, Herschel again, but at the same time, they added something that was kind of unique, which I do have criticisms, of course. Her having height issue it's an idea, but it was kind of convenient that like we were getting this now. But I thought it was a good excuse to tell that fear, and I like how they did it here. Go ahead, Dave.
We didn't mention in our episode, but that is actually a callback to the first season. The fear of heights. Really? When she did the zip lining, she showed her fear of heights.
Oh yeah.
They just took it that.
I'm glad it has a payoff finally. Like honestly.
Yeah, and it's not just the zip lining. When she was going up the ladder to that place where they were going to eventually zip line, there was issues with heights as well. And we had talked about it extensively too, because we'd said, oh yeah, of course, that makes so much sense. She's at a farm, it's relatively flat land, and now she's in this big sprawling tall city that she's never experienced the kind of perspective. And so here, country girl, you know what I mean? It's in a city. It's
that makes
amazing.
Sense. Yeah. Oh man, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, it happened like those seasons ago. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
It's weird to think that like that writing came into play now, like that they had thought about that before to prep you for this, but
then took it to a whole different level, or maybe that was the level it was always at, by the way, that came into that package. Now we only get to see it from her eyes now.
That's true. Yeah. And I like the pairing of the Korak. That was a good decision to do. I mean, the Korak is great. He's been the best theme about the show, so I was great to see his interaction with Maggie. you know, because the twist from first season, you know, he you know, forced her to like get Negan. And yeah, Negan, I think this was the best episode for Negan. I felt like his I mean, Jeffrey D. Morgan, great actor. I thought this was his best performance. I mean, that scene where he was hallucinating the people he cared about is so good. And like, and then the last shot of, you know, I don't like Ginny, but like that last shot of Ginny's whistling kind of like hit me. It was like, oh my God, yeah. So, you know, there was a lot of great things. Like, it was a lot of good things. And yeah, there's like a couple, you know, silly things that happened, but it's like whatever. But man, you gave me, I thought that one walking kid, you know, the zombie was like, that's it. And then we got a bunch of them. I was like, best episode ever. I was like, yeah, let's do this.
A bunch of dead kids. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I do too. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on. 28 Days Later had one. I mean, every like George Romero, like zombies had one of those later on. But like, yeah, it was like cool. And then I had mixed feelings towards the end. I was like, oh my God, the twist. I was like, what? You know, I mean, the drama. I was like, what the heck? How did she survive? I was like shocked. And then, and you know, Bridget, you brought up she was Uncle Fester. I was thinking more Two-Face. Like, I was like, what the heck? Like,
yeah, that's fair. She's just dressed like Uncle Fester. That's all. That's all.
Not her face or anything.
Yeah.
yeah. So I was really shocked about that. So, but overall, I thought it was a really good episode. And let me start here. I think the beginning of this episode was really good. I thought starting it out, because last episode we know this is something I think was kind of missing from the season, was the stakes. It's like, so we see in the beginning, Negan, how you say, is so after Jeannie had the gun pointing at Negan at last episode, you know, she fall down because of the wound she got in like a couple episodes ago, you know, and you know, which was kind of silly to hide it, but whatever, you know, she's a kid, but it's getting worse, and so Negan is trying to find, or is trying to stable any resource that he has left. You know, I mean, they don't have antibiotics, but one of the group, like, what was it? I think Benjamin gave him this like cream, and he recognized this because there's a specific cream you use for like any medication, right? Or like a type of medicine you need as a person. And so he goes over to the group, and they talked about the location, right, to the hospital, and you know, to like find out where he could get it, and they tell him where to go. But then there was like some rumors about, you know, there's someone there in third floor having all the like antibiotics thing and all that. So that was like the start of that. And then of course we get Maggie meeting up. Well, so Maggie gets the location where Negan told him to go to like find Herschel Jr. And so like she goes there, but she only finds the Korak. And then, you know, she does the Batman thing, like, interrogate, where's my son? All right, I want to know where my son is. You know, it's like, yeah, I do want to know where your son is. I mean, like, this kid.
It's not the Batman. It's what is that movie? That Mel Gibson movie, Payback or Pay?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, I was even thinking Taken.
Taken, yeah, it's like
with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, like I got this specific skills.
No, there's a Mel Gibson movie from like the late 90s, early 2000s where he says that, like,
saw in theaters too.
Or whatever.
Yeah, Payback. Yeah, I heard that movie. Yeah,
brutal.
Crazy movie. I heard it, you know, with the background, you know that. So the Korak is there. I mean, it's so sad. I feel really bad for the Korak. He's like so down. He lost pretty much like his confidence because of the Dama, not like, you know, because of what Negan did, you know, destroy his confidence of like the person he is. And, you know, he has nothing left to do, right? And, you know, a good direction. And then he recognized the paper when he got pushed, I think, to like one of the walls, right? He sees the drawings that Herschel did. And he looks at the building and he's like, oh, wait a minute, we took him around, show him where we were, like some of the stations that maybe they were having. And she said, you know what, I know where he's going. And then we kind of cut to the credits, and then we have the, you know, the typical Dead City credit. So let me stop there. Let me start with you, Jeff. What you thought about the beginning with, you know, Negan trying to find a way to like stable genie, and then of course Maggie meeting of a call, right? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean it's it establishes the premise for the episode, very very effectively, I guess, you could say. I mean, immediately from jump, the character's motivations in the episode, right from jump, that they're declared, kind of, you know what I mean? And so it's, that's always a good thing to the audience to know that. And then, from there, they're going to go about, their individual missions, to go do whatever they got to do. Right. And, I wasn't really sure at first because I didn't pick it up from the last episode. I wasn't sure why Maggie and the Kurak were together at first, but I didn't really care either way. You know what I mean? Like, the Kurak is good with anybody kind of on screen, that actor is pretty solid. So, I had a feeling right from jump that they would be good together in the episode, as far as the whole Negan thing with Ginny and all that, I mean, it's just Ginny laying there sleeping and everything, and Negan's going to go, to the hospital or whatever, based off what the dude said. There ain't really much to say about it. You know what I mean? It just, that's what's going to happen. So, that's where kind of the action lies, is that mission, again, the less of Jenny, the better. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Dead City,
sorry,
Jenny, you don't need to give Jenny a lot of screen time,
less is more.
Yeah, it's not necessary. You know what I'm saying? For the plot of the show or whatever, you don't need a lot of Jenny, So, her just be laying there passed out worked for me, less
acting.
Yeah. That was some of our best acting right there.
I love it. Oh my God.
Yeah. What was it, staying in that warp position, sleeping like that? It was like Halloween 2, Oscar level, Jim Lee.
Yeah.
Curtis,
I want you to do. Here's your motivation. You're dying.
You're dying. Yeah.
She didn't even blink or anything, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta give her props. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much it. So I mean, I can't really think of anything I can really say about it, other than the fact that the Dead City credits, deal, you know what I'm saying? They're intro or whatever is okay. It's just okay. As far as an intro goes, I've seen better. Theirs is all right. It's okay.
Yeah. It's not Derek Dixon or The Ones Who Live.
No,
I mean, I don't know.
I can't remember those ones that well, but
yeah, I can't remember the ones who live.
I can't remember the Ones Who Live one at all.
No, me neither.
Well, it was such a short series.
It was good. So it was good. It was good. I know it was good.
The Daryl Dixon intro is phenomenal, but I like the music.
Yeah, the music is okay. Yeah, overall, the music in this episode is pretty solid. I don't think I have any issues with the music or anything like that. When it comes to this show, I don't think it's like the
score.
The score, I don't think is very impactful on this show. It's not something that we're going to end up, having deep conversations about, really. But I mean, it's okay. It was pretty solid. I noticed it in this episode, and I think it's okay. That's pretty much it, Andres.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was just looking at my notes. I just want to be correct on this. Because we're bringing in the family, I was kind of confused, and so I just want to bring this up. So when and I'm gonna go with you're an expert, but let me address this. So oh my God, I lose my mind. Okay, I thought initially his family did die, but then this episode made it more clear. So he was talking about his first wife, named Lucy, or someone correct me on that.
Lucille.
Lucia. Thank you.
Like the bat.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. This is cool. He
named the bat after his wife.
Oh, that is so cool. Wow, very nice.
The Vampire Slayer.
Yeah,
Right,
or
Bridget?
Batman, like being very Batman, Anyway, anyway,
We're
I'm
bringing that
sorry.
up again. It's like, I'm going to cut you little pieces. Where's my
Yeah,
son?
yeah, where's my son? So when he was talking to Benjamin about like his mistakes and like why he's doing what he's doing, he brings up how his first wife Lucia was like dying of cancer. I was like, oh, okay, it makes a lot of sense. And because he got the second chance with his second wife Annie and her son, he missed that he failed them too. And I thought this was good information during that beginning part, like explaining that because this first, like when they brought up again the family, I was like, whoa, I thought someone died. Because I remembered that, and then now this episode made it more clear. I was like, okay, so this is like his secondary family after the first one passed away before.
Correct.
Like it sounded like before the apocalypse happened. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of fix that because that was something I was a little confused during this whole like bench watch of the whole season.
Can I say something about that though?
Yeah, sure.
What's great about that is the common pitfall of spin-off shows, first of all, is the danger of catering to only audiences who've seen the previous iterations of the shows, like the original Flagship show.
Yeah.
Because they included all that context, anybody could jump into the series and kind of through inference get some of the prior references, but including basically Hillary Burton Morgan as Lucille, whom we saw in the bonus episodes of The Walking Dead season 10. Including that for people just jumping onto The Walking Dead who maybe even have not, Walking Dead Dead City specifically, who may not have watched before, is a pretty cool thing that they did because it makes it a little bit more accessible for people, A, who forgot, it happens, and B, for people who just want to watch the spinoffs, which has been a thing. People who watched Fear the Walking Dead first and completely dipped out or didn't even watch The Walking Dead, some people swear by it. And I think that's pretty cool. So including that context really does help. So, for people who don't really think about these things, it's important in writing.
Yeah, that is true. That's the one thing I will at least give the show credit. It's like they don't like beat you to the head like the past. Like it's like like we all know what happened with Glenn, and so and you got the kid. It's like it's Glenn's kid and all that, and Negan. They did a good job with Negan's like character from the previous season, and also adding to it and not like a annoying way. It's like it's like now I understand like it's part of his character, like why he's who he is. Bridget, what you thought about the begin section here of our characters going to their journeys and before the credits started? Go ahead.
I have to say I'm going to reiterate something that Jeff said earlier. Jeff made a really good point that maybe the reason this episode was so good is because we stripped it down to the basics and got rid of all these ancillary characters. And I have to say that is probably the key component to this episode is really stripping away all of this extra nonsense. We didn't meet a new group while they were there. I thought that was what was going to happen for a second, when Negan's walking around the hospital. I thought maybe for a second there was going to be like another group of people.
Of all parkour people.
Yeah. But it was really nice. It was really nice to kind of see them just go on their own journey apart. So I liked it. I thought it was a really strong start to the episode. The issues that I take with this episode don't come into play until later. So it was a strong start to I don't know. Maybe you guys are convincing me. Maybe I like it now.
Very insulted.
It's 3 hours. 3 hours of being told it was good. Is finally sinking in.
Guys, I wore her down so that you guys could come in with the kill. Just
take
it.
I'm using my telepathic abilities or to honor Batman Forever today. No worry, Jeff. You don't have to talk about this, but Batman Forever, the box. I gave her the box and like I'm tricking her that like, oh, this is all good, I was like all of that. If anyone knows, that's the box that the Riddler used in that movie. And happy 30th anniversary today for Batman Forever. Anyway.
Oh my God.
Jeff's like so done with Batman Forever.
Right now. He's not. We talked about it yesterday. It was pretty rough.
It's not. Anyway, let's move on.
You can see Jeff trying to mind erase it currently.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Good strategy though. Better than fighting.
I swear to God, Batman Forever, you had to do one thing. It's just to be entertaining. How the hell that today Walking Dead was good? I was like, what the effing god. I just anyway. Dave,
opposite day.
Yeah, Dave, go ahead. Just
what
you thought about the beginning part, sir, and your thoughts, sir.
Well, I think the one thing I wanted to focus on was, like, I think this was mentioned already, but the way the episode starts, more than anything else, it's the music. It's the simultaneous warped vinyl record of the aria that's playing, but also the additional score that feeds into it is so unsettling. And then it also prepares you for Maggie's mental / physical state, because even I don't know, I think it was just after the title sequence, you do see Maggie stumble a bit, and the Croat points out, you need some sleep, and she goes, no, I don't. And then she plows on, but then clearly this gets worse and worse and worse as it goes. But I think staging the unsettling nature of this episode from the very beginning, not knowing what you're going to find in that next room, because what is the thing that you forget, lest you forget, is that Maggie's lost everybody. She wasn't even there when Beth had ended. So I'm like starting to actually appreciate this episode even more than I already do. Is that her dreading going into that room and finding Herschel not alive is a possibility, just like it was in the past, repeatedly seeing her father Herschel die in front of her eyes. Seeing Negan's as the killer of Glenn be spared by Rick. There's that too. It's like, nothing ever goes my way. So why wouldn't Herschel die in that next room? Why wouldn't that be his S side? I don't know if I can say suicide song or something like that. I don't know. There's something unsettling, and it's a great setup for the show. And like you said, Jeff, flipping back and forth between similar vibes between Maggie and Negan, how they have this, it's the same person, just like a yin yang almost, like in the other, there is a component of the other person. It's really great. So it's a great start. Everybody is finding a reason to live, right? Maggie trying to find Herschel, Negan trying to save Ginny, both children, right? Great. And let me add one more thing. The fact that a show can write, as much as maybe you didn't like the previous episodes, the fact is they had to write certain things to get to this point to where you can see these characters have similar parallels, very close parallels to one another. The fact that they're both trying to find a child or save a child, the fact that they're both feeling fatigued, the fact that they're both feeling like it would be better if I checked out. It would just be better if I checked out. And then just have that happen. You had to construct a narrative to get to this kind of point where this narrative can exist. So now that I'm thinking about it, I definitely appreciate how we got here a lot better than before. Because you can't magically show up to this episode and have it make sense. You have to. Yeah. There's a road that has to be paved to get here.
No, very good. I totally forgot that. Yeah, they are definitely doing a good job of paralleling the journey, because they are both saying a child. So I mean, that is really cool. I never really put to that together. That's really neat. And really worked too. So thank you guys. Really great thoughts. So like just starting now, Negan, is asking Benjamin Pierce to like watch over Ginny and try to like help keep her stable after he comes back with the medicine, hopefully, and tells him to do everything you can. And despite him being new, he asked him why you're still here, stuff like that. He asked him, like, I don't understand why this stranger is helping them, but Benjamin kind of admits that he doesn't have a lot of experience with other people. He doesn't have that like social like interaction that some of the like other characters have, or people in general, because he's been born into the outbreak, so like that's been the only child, like we've been discussing this season, and you guys, I think you guys brought this up, was these kids don't have normal childhood during this outbreak. I mean, Herschel doesn't have one. I mean, Ginny doesn't really have one. And so, like, it's cool to hear from this kid, another young kid, Benjamin. And, it just does a really good job of putting this relationship with Negan. And it's, like, really cool because, if he does get killed, it's going to be sad because, he, has liked Negan, and Negan has done a really good job of protecting him and treat him like as a person, compared to the new Damalon or the Dama.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and so I feel like that's the one thing, at least with him compared to other characters, is like I would be a little sad because like when you with Negan, he does care about because we saw that with the episode 3 with the Valiant guy, and like he talked to him, and I thought part was good because he had good chemistry with that kid, and when the Dama killed him with the thing, it was really sad because Negan, he didn't want him to be dead, he was saving Herschel, with that. So I think they're doing a good job of setting like the relationship like very unique and making him like the thing about Benjamin I like he at least has personality and like he has something like like compared to other characters we have seen, like he's a very interesting character where we're seeing things like we haven't really that some of these other characters have is like the perspective of the apocalypse, like this kid's it's been born during this time, and so he hasn't seen the life that like Maggie or Armstrong had before the thing happened. So it's always interesting, and I think that's the one thing that I like that they're doing with this character. So after that, Negan puts his arm on his shoulder, and then he kind of kisses the unconscious Ginny, and her breathing out is like what's it, Rhapsody? So like it's like okay, she's kind of deteriorating a little bit, so he's gonna save her life, and so he leaves. And then after that, we see the Korak takes Maggie to the safe house. Let me forget it was called the safe house. And in this, I was like, oh my god, this is it's like Die Hard meets Walking Dead. I don't know what you're gonna say. This is top of the floor of a skyscraper. I was like, oh my god. He says there's no problem there, but there's no way except to go to the tower, because the bridge is made of a glass that's several floors up, which is crazy. And this part, I think, Maggie, we saw a little bit before the credits. She sees it and she has a little like kind of like me. I have heights issue as well. I don't really like the heights. I got height phobia. It's like
Same.
wow. Yeah, and and you see the Korak saying that he had like set some traps there in the past. So, but it's not so long he can remember where they are. So like, that creates some tension. But I also really like was like can you trust the Korak? Because he does notice Maggie looking down on the stairwell and telling, when he's telling his story about, people have this higher fears and all that. They have the compulsion to jump, like it was a really great dialogue while he's trying to get like that like trap to like just let it out so that it doesn't kill them, right? But at the same time, like you see this really great moment of Maggie looking down like that stairs, which is so creepy. I only tried once to see it. It's really bad if you have that. And
that concept is, I think, is actually like a real tangible thing. Like I think when you are at extreme height, like you do get like a sense of wanting to jump almost. Like it's all it's weird, but like I've experienced it.
Yeah, it's same here. I don't know. There's a new place called the Edge in New York. It's high, and there's like, oh my god, this what I'm talking about, David. I have that moment. I'm like, I want to get out of there. Like it's just I will jump myself no matter what. It's because I don't like that. It's because there's like a part where it's like there's like an open window where you see down like the city. It's like, oh my god, I don't like that.
Yeah, Auckland, New Zealand has a similar building too, where it's you get to the top and it's very high up, and there are certain places at the top where you can just look straight down. There's like a jut of just glass everywhere, and you can just look straight down and take pictures straight down.
Oh god!
And little open glass
Don't
floors.
Give credit to Australia. That was first in the Sears Tower. It's no longer called this.
New Zealand.
My bad. New Zealand. I didn't mean that. Sorry, Kiwis.
Same thing, Kiwis.
No, it's not the same thing at all.
Same thing, same energy.
I completely understand that. But it was in the Sears Tower first, Dave.
Yeah. And Vegas has a similar thing too, by the way.
Yeah, they do.
I did that one. It's useless. Why would people do this? But they do.
I don't know. They do it too. But anyway, it was good, but I don't like when I had to look through the window and see like all the cities down under me. But anyway, so while this happened. Like he does, like the Korrak does derange the trap, like pulling Maggie out of the trance with the blackness beneath it, which was kind of creepy. I agree with Jeff. Like this was like this was horror. Like I was like, what's like it was like a meaty horror movie. It's like, you're up, you're dealing with zombies. That's actually a cool concept. I never really thought about it. It's like you're dealing with the zombies here, and then you have this human person that you don't trust. Like this is the guy that made you set Negan back here, and like and like he had your kid. It's like so many emotions going on, and I'm like really intense. And it's like how like is the car going to trick her or whatnot? So just wrapping up, we get to Negan. He has arrived to the hospital. Let me stop there because that's a really great scene here. So Negan does arrive to the hospital. He does make it to the third floor of the hospital, where he must hide from a small group of walkers. And then when he goes to this other room, he does come across to a small boy. When that small boy came out, I was like, what the hell? It's like a kid walker. I was like, whoa, pretty cool, I mean, not cool, but it was neat to see a kid being a zombie, I mean, nothing will beat the infected child and 28 days later, but it was like, whoa, he looked gnarly. He had a shirt like he was like going into 3K, but somehow he got into a zombie.
You gave him a story. I love it.
Yeah, like he went to 3K, went to see his mom maybe in the hospital, and then I don't know, like a kid. One of the kids probably bit him, and he turned into a zombie. That's how that boy became a zombie boy. And so anyway, so we get this cool fight where Negan. This was where it was really interesting seeing Negan not killing the kid. Very interesting. I mean, look, you cannot kill the kid. Especially with him. He has a son. He has I know we don't like her, but she is kind of like a stepchild for him. Another child to take care of. And so killing a kid is just not good. So he tries to trap the boy in the other room, but the this is where I was like it was kind of I don't know I'll get to you guys' opinions about this, but Negan falling down and knocking himself out, and so I felt that was kind of too convenient, but then it just makes sense, at least. They did something with the conscious, which we'll get later on. So let me start with Jeff. Although actually no, let me start with you, Dave. What you thought about? Sorry, I'm trying to do the rotations here, and there's just so much I had to think. So sorry, Jeff. You will go next at the Dave.
I'll be okay.
Yeah. So Dave, what you thought about Maggie's trance during the stairs up to Negan getting unconscious by that small boy, getting hit by that, I don't know, sink to his head. That's the stopping point, sir.
Yeah, I think, well, you'd also mentioned earlier that there was a backstory to Pierce as well.
Yeah.
And how we get a little of that. And one of the things that I want to note, and this is something I said in our last discussion together, was that Victor dies in the second episode. Another shitty lesson. I can say it now. Another shitty lesson. You have Joan, who dies, who also similar age, died about 10 years old. Victor was 10 years old when the apocalypse happened. You have Christos, who died, he was got passed out from the methane, and the Barazzi killed all of them, right? These are people, Christos looks a lot older, but that's just his personality and his face. But he's a young father, I think, about the same age. And Benjamin Pierce reveals in this episode that he is 27 as well, 10 years old when the apocalypse happened. You have a pattern. One of the things I said about Victor was that from the second episode, early on, I got Carl vibes all over again, the Carl that was supposed to visit Negan in the cell. So that already bootstraps so much emotion to this character whom we only meet for 2 episodes. Now we have Pierce. Pierce gives a story. He's the same age as well. And there's this pattern that's repeating. Who is all this for if not for children? And yet all these children are dying. And it goes back to the painting. What is the painting? The painting of Saturn devouring his son. Saturn being Kronos, devouring Zeus, which doesn't end up, well, it does end up happening, but then he gets fished out of Cronus' stomach. The idea here being, no, I take all the power. My sons, I don't want to leave anything to my sons. It's all about me, which is like the opposite of what parents normally do for children. And then here we have Herschel with Maggie and trying to save her son and give him the best life possible, and yet that doesn't seem possible. So I just wanted to mention mostly the fact that he's the same age as all these other kids that died. Kids, young people that died. But the other more important thing is what you just mentioned about Negan falling backwards onto the sink. He was displaying a lot of the same behaviors that Maggie was showing us in The Walking Dead season 11. There's a scene where she's heading towards Outpost 22 to find Herschel, who's holed up in one of the Alexandria homes, which we find out later, basically. But she's on her way there, and then on the way at the train tracks, she sees a child walker, and what does she do? She pushes it away. She just can't seem to kill it. Same energy as Negan in this scene. And I thought that was very informative for people who watched the show all the way through, to get the same feelings that, like, I just can't, I'm exhausted. I can't stay. First of all, I want to check out. Everybody's better off without me. And I just can't bear to kill even a child walker, let's say. And also, one last thing. I say that it's Gus, his kid, that's in this severe heavy makeup, and they're just using a forced perspective to show him a lot younger and smaller than he actually is. But it looks a lot like his kid, Gus, Jeffrey D. Morgan's kid, Gus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I'm just
gonna say that. That's basically. There's so much more I could say about these scenes, but I'm not gonna do that to everybody. But those two nuggets are the best.
No. This episode has a lot of like deep grammatical crushes about the apocalypse and kids in general, like how you raise them and how you shape them to be better than you, like, Maggie wants Herschel to be better than her, because, she has regrettable things and like guilty stuff. Like, she maybe was able to save, Glenn or her father and Beth, of course, that was not her for, like stuff like that. Same thing with Negan, he's trying his best to be a different person and now, and, he wants a better life for Ginny to be in, instead of with him, like I understand that, and I think you have a really good point about what they're setting up here. And same thing with Benjamin, right? Like Benjamin's like part of that cycle as well. He's part of this world, and he's and everyone that's hacked him haven't done a good job with him, except for Negan, where Negan will probably do a better job of directing him and stuff like that. Jeff,
I love your perspective on that, by the way. I hadn't even thought about that. Everybody treating him like dirt except for Negan.
Yeah. And
thought about that.
Yeah, and that's Negan did that as well with his former prisoner guard that died. Like he treated him respect, and then
Victor,
Victor. Thank you. I was like he had a name, and Victor. That death was really sad, and I just because like you get why Negan was upset, and
same age.
Yeah, same age. Yeah, and that for me made a lot of sense. Jeff, you're next, sir. What you thought about this section of the hospital scene where when Negan gets...
I know.
Go ahead.
I mean, basically, the shared space with the Kurak and Maggie is good. It's a good good vibe in the episode. So them walking around and her killing walkers and shit like that. You know what I mean, and all that. Why he's kind of just strolling around, like kind of doing his own thing, it's cool, he's got this, like, I don't give a fuck what happens to me, energy going on throughout the episode, like kind of like just whatever, walking around blind corners and shit, no weapon, like whatever.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, he had that energy going the whole time, so like that was obvious that he was, trying to get like whacked or whatever, kind of, and I could tell he wasn't really going where he said he was going with Maggie, too. Not that I'm trying to get ahead, but like I could tell. Negan going to get to the hospital with the kid walker. Having like kid walkers and shit like that is always crazy, and it's believable that he hit his head on that sink. That happens to people. That people hit their heads on sinks and shit like that. In real life, it happens every year. Like unfortunately, can be very debilitating. To be honest with you.
It happens in the comic too.
It just happens, you know.
People die.
Yeah, people do die. It's unfortunate, you know. People get paralyzed and shit from like blows like that, you know. But it happens, and you know. So yeah, pretty much that's all I really got. I mean, you know, I do enjoy seeing Maggie kill walkers. You know, like she's good at killing walkers. You know, on the original show, she was always good at killing walkers. You know, like that was a good like a role she had where she was really good. You know, they would put her right out front. You know, like when they were cleaning out rooms and stuff like that. You know, like Rick and everything. You know, they put Maggie right up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like right with Daryl and everything. You know, you'd have Maggie there. You know, you know, she could always hold her own on The Walking Dead. You know, I don't know how she was at the end of the show, but that's how she always was. You know, so you know, I like seeing her killing walkers, and I love their use of walkers, and I love their use of New York City in this episode. You know, that's been a problem for the show, is them not using their location, you know, supposed location. And I thought they did a really good job with it in this episode and this part of the episode. You know, I'm digging the abandoned building set. You know, what they have working for the, you know, the abandoned buildings and everything. You know, looked really good. You know, didn't look cheap. You know, and looked worn down, look apocalyptic. You know, so yeah, I thought it was a good part of the episode. Overall, it was a good episode in general across the board.
Yeah, no, I agree. Bridget, your thoughts on Maggie with the stair trance and of course Negan's knocking the head part. That's the end point. Go ahead.
Yeah, the parts with Maggie and the Croat, I thought, other than Maggie being super tired throughout this episode, I thought they were really enjoyable. I like the Croat. I think he's a great character. He's really interesting. The actor who portrays him, I'm gonna butcher his name, so I'm not gonna say it, but
Jelko Ivanek.
Yes, thank you. He is so phenomenal at what he does. He's just very believable as this over-the-top character, which is, it's kind of a hard balance to find. You know, you know of a lot of like character actors that do this kind of work and they're like chewing the scenery in these scenes, and he's not one of those. Like, it's subtle enough, like the character's really over the top, but his acting is subtle enough that it's really believable, which I really
enjoyed. Was in season 1, by the way.
Yeah.
He totally chewed the screen season
but
1.
we loved him. We loved him for it. So
did.
It's been interesting to see like his depth of character in this. So I really enjoyed that. I thought the fear of heights with Maggie was a nice tie into season 1. I'm glad that they stuck with it. I like that they introduced the concept that for humans, it's not actually the fear of falling, it's the fear of jumping, which is a unique compulsion and is really interesting to kind of take a look at this concept of like kind of, I don't know, I'm terrified, but at the same time, like what would happen? What would happen if I just jump right now?
Yeah, we read a study on our show too, like a blurb on a 2012 study on that, how real that is and why that is.
And I have a fear of heights, so it's interesting to see it portrayed in an apocalyptic show. It's just kind of weird to be a focus. I liked getting the little sneak peek into who the Croat is from like a prior profession perspective. You know, he's working on disarming these traps, but we later find out why is because of like what he did for work, which is really interesting as well. Negan in the hospital was great. I really loved all of the Negan scenes. They were super weird because it was like concussion induced hallucinations, but I really enjoyed it, and that is the beginning of that. So I'll save what I really enjoyed for when we get into what he actually saw in the hospital.
Yeah. That was like this episode felt like the most horror of the bunch of episodes we've seen with Dead City. That was the thing I appreciate with the stairs, and then Negan getting knocked like with that, because that could have caused a whole lot of problems for him.
It was very I didn't notice it until like talking about it so much for the last couple hours. It's very Hitchcock.
Yeah.
To see the shot down the staircase. It's very Vertigo.
Yeah, very Vertigo. Yeah, it did remind me of that. Like
that one booby trap that did drop was fucking nasty. If anybody got hit by that fucking thing, like holy fuck.
like imagine
it cracked the wall behind it.
Yeah,
it was gnarly.
It was gnarly.
I mean, or at least the CG made us feel that way.
Yeah. It was. It's just it was so good because Maggie's reaction. I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "What the hell?"
Maggie's lack of reaction that set me off, and then all of us go. The screen is shaking. Maggie's just like, "Huh?"
Yeah, you think somebody would be pissed off, you know, like personally, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like what the fuck, Croat, you know?
Yeah, he's I had to agree with Bridget. Correct is so funny. It's so good, and just the way he just like nonchalant, like, "Oh, we're done here. Let's go." You know, it's just he's so great. I mean, this guy.
I told you to stand still.
Stand still. Like, yeah, it's true. Yeah, she didn't listen. It was pretty bad. But yeah, great job, guys. Yeah, great scenes. This is where I was like, oh man, this is actually getting good. Like it was the same feel. Yeah, it was the same feeling. It's weird, but like it was the same feeling from Wonder Woman, the first movie, because of the crazy mess that was the DCU from the beginning. When Wonder Woman was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, okay, it's doing good. And we got to the point where No Man's Land happened. I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, it made, you know, and I thought this was a good section of the Walking Dead episode. I was like, oh, they were actually doing something. And then this was like, I was in my seat. I was paying attention, which is good. And speaking of Negan, we'll stick with that because we do come back because I know this was like the commercial cut here. So after that, we do get back to Negan waking up from his consciousness and the time to find the undead boy ready to jump him down. Because I was like, I thought it was like almost like some dream because it was like black ooze. I was like, are we in the Prometheus alien universe? And then no, that was just the boy. And I was like, where did the boy like spit blood, black blood? I was like, okay. Anyway, so he gets up and you know he doesn't kill the kid still, like you know, tries to push him away and but after he goes to the other room, he does like check his head. He does see bleeding from his back of his head. And he just like suckers off, which is kind of weird. You know, I mean, look again, just like Maggie, as you were saying before, Dave, like you know, the fact that these people are pushing themselves, you know, in exhaustion and not taking time to like take a breath or like take a rest, you know, with these like heavy damages to their bodies is kind of crazy. Or you know, whatever is going on to like just like be aware. And the same thing with Maggie. We come back to Maggie here, where Maggie, as we've been kind of repeating before, is exhausted, near a collapse as she follows the Korak through the maze of office cubicles. I was like, what the hell is this? It's like that was like, oh my god, this is gonna be bad. And it was. For a moment she was like, you know, she was following it, but then she loses her guide. I was like, what the hell happened? I was like, where is the Korak? Like, did he left her or what? You know? And then like, and Jeff brought this up, and it's a really good point. Like, I appreciate we got kills from Maggie doing her, you know, usual stick, and this was a cool moment to seeing her, like, just fucking killing these walkers. It simultaneously like losing her like mind a little bit, you know, well, like getting exhausted with the maze because that again, there's another phobia, like claustrophobia. Like she's having this like, you know, claustrophic, you know, feeling because of these maze because like you don't know where you're going. And so that was a really like a tense scene. You know, and only you're there, but you also had to deal with the walkers coming at you. It was crazy. 3-4 of them were like after her. Sorry. So after she fights up, you know, with the walkers alone, you know, the Korak does comes back, but then she collapses and like that, you know, like you know the exhaustion he has. So Maggie wakes up with the meeting room with Korak sitting at the table in front of her. She does pull out a knife, but it was not like necessary because like he doesn't mean harm because you know the Korak talks about how his mother believed in him and like just like Maggie, he believes in protecting, you know, Herschel. So you know, and this was a good part. Like it was great to hear how she opens up about her mother dying when she was young. That was really great to hear. And then you know, saying that her dad went into depression. To that because I'm trying to remember in season 2, right? The wife was affected as a walker, right? Because in season 2, the you know, because people had to know that the barn he had the walkers, and I think his wife was in it. He was trying to wait for a cure for it, and obviously, if you know, that's the famous Carol daughter was in the barn as a walker. Unfortunately, it was too late for her to save her daughter.
Yeah, Bridget will know more about this than I would, though.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I remember this part. So so just briefly, Herschel had a bunch of like walkers in the barn.
Mhm.
One of them was his wife because he was waiting
Correct.
for. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Was that her stepmother though? I think so.
Yeah,
right?
it's Maggie's stepmother.
Not
Okay.
her biological mother.
It's Beth's
biological
mom.
mother. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So this
Flesh
part.
mom.
Yeah. Too much. Oh my God. Like so many families I had to check out here. Thank you, Bridget. Yes, it was Beth's mother because Beth was not the other. Like she was a step.
She's a half sibling of Maggie.
Yeah, and so this was her talking about her biological mother, and that was a really great piece. I really like that. And you know, as Bridget brought it up before, it was great to see the ins and out of the Korak. You know, he has this like loss as well as he remembers the good part of his mom when she was alive. You know how she made him special and stuff like that. That's really good character development for this character. It just made a lot of sense now why his relation with Dama was kind of weird, but it made sense why he was loyal to her up to that point. And I thought this scene was really great. I thought those two actors were amazing. They were acting their butts off. It was great. Which is good. Like they actually had they cared about what was going on. And yeah, I thought that scene was just really great. And then let me stop there. Let me stop there because we're getting to the point towards the end of the episode. Or let me stop here with Negan. There's a chilling scene where Negan is walking into the room filled with child walkers. So speaking of crazy scene, after the Korak and magazine, we go back to Negan. He sees this room of child walkers, which was creepy. And oh my God, the makeup of these kids were amazing. I mean, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing to see each one with their various looks, how decayed they are. Some of them are not, that was really I mean, the team of the Walking Dead makeup team, this did a really good job with these kids. We've seen, kid walkers before. I brought up Sophie, she was I think the first we kind of seen, and I don't know how many we have seen. It's been so many years since I've seen these seasons. But yeah, just seeing these kids were kind of creepy, and he had to be quiet. So this part, I was like, I don't know how you walkers can hear you. How that not making a noise can make them not hear you. That part, I was like, I don't know. Those kids couldn't easily, but at the same time, they were sick kids. I don't know how. I don't know before they're transferring. That's the thing is weird. It's how aware these walkers are sometimes with these people walking around them, but whatever. So he goes to this room, right? He makes it to there quietly, there were landmines into an operating room where the walls are ripped apart, where others have looked for the medicine. But before he goes to that room, there was a noise he heard. It was really creepy. I was like, what the hell is going on? Is that a walker? It was the smart infected last season. It was we're gonna have another walker that's smart or what? But no, when he gets to it, he breaks in the walls, and he was getting ready to give up, but then he noticed someone a human up there getting the bag, and he chases after him. But then he awakes all the zombie kids, which was crazy. And of course, he's not gonna kill them. So he tackles them. He tries to tackle this person that he runs off in the lobby, but the bag was empty. But then Negan pulls down the max, and then this is where Richard brought about this is where I'm gonna stop is the crazy hallucinate trip that Negan has with this previous family / loved ones that he had. So first we got the first wife that died of cancer that we've been kind of talking about this main season. Really great season. I didn't know this was the wife for Jeffrey D. Morgan. That was really cool that you brought that up. Great chemistry. I it was really sad to hear this first wife, and her cancer is just like, oh god, makes a lot of sense now, about his character. And then he talks about it. He say, I'm sorry, but he say like, thank you for taking care of me. It's like if you like me, or like if you have someone like that like in that position, I understand. And it was such a touching scene. Really great scene there. And then he goes to the second wife. It was cool to see the second wife on the face, because we saw her last episode. It was funny. Or where was it? 2 weeks ago. Wait, you guys were there.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't see their faces. It was like there, barely. So it was cool to see the second wife here, and that was really nice. And then, Negan was obviously like conscious that the world was kind of spinning around. He grabs as his head, so like he kind of focus on, but then he sees like his second wife and son, and then like they disappear as he walks out of the hospital. And before he does go walk out, he sees Ginny doing the whistle, and then he sees the machine, whatever, and he sees that, and he takes that to Ginny. So let me stop there. Let me start with you, Bridget. What you thought about pretty much the famous Walker maze up to Negan's hallucinate of his loved ones. Go ahead.
Sure. The Walker maze was my least favorite part of this whole episode. The maze itself was very cool. Very cool to see the cubicle divvied up. I mean, that's how it feels working in an office like that. So I loved that. Maggie being so tired was really unbelievable for me. So it kind of broke the illusion. But and the Croat was far too casual about like her nearly dying again and again. He's just like, come on. So it was kind of weird. The scenes with Negan were amazing. I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to speak on a couple different things. So I wanted to talk about the Walker kids, because you're like, why are they standing? This is weird. So we chalked it up to they're dormant. When they're like this, they're often referred to as a lurker. This is something that was brought up a couple times in Walking Dead. Most recently would have been Walking Dead season 11, the season 11 premiere episode. Had a bunch of our favorite characters dropping into like a military, temporary like military base. And there are a ton of walkers, and they're just laying on the ground, and they're not moving at all. They're dormant. And Daryl gets his arm cut and blood drops on them, and then all of them wake up all at once. So they have to have something happen to like trigger them waking up, either by directly running into them, or like if he had technically, because he had already bumped his head, technically his blood should have woken them up, but I digress. So yeah, and then before that we saw them like a lurker is what bit Herschel's leg and why he had to lose his leg. So this was in the Walking Dead original
second episode.
So this is like, it's a tie into that, which is kind of cool. It was cool to see. It was creepy for it to be kids. I don't know. I was trying to think of this earlier because Dave and I were talking about it. I don't think it's not even The Walking Dead. I don't think zombie content in general has ever shied away from children being turned.
No.
If you look back at Night of the Living Dead, one of the first zombie movies, the daughter turns and attacks her mother and kills her. So this has been going on from the very beginning. This was Romero's like vision for what this universe looks like. So I think it was cool. We've seen it a lot before, but this was not in this number. Like to see that was insane.
No, it's first time here.
So that was really, really cool to see.
They saved it up for this moment, basically.
Yeah.
I liked that part. I thought it was interesting to see the room where like this tale had been spun so many times that there was a nurse who worked there and she went and stole all the medication and went to the
legend has it
operating room and she hid it there. And it's like, but everyone who goes in dies. So it's like this urban legend among them. And I thought it was so interesting to see all of the holes in the wall, like that these people had all traveled to this place and been out of frustration, been like, oh, it's gotta be here. And desperately looking in the walls. Like, why would it be in the walls? I have no idea, but you're just looking for anything to try to get this medication. So I really enjoyed that. It kind of told a little bit more of the universe. It was a little bit of world building that was kind of happening. It was very subtle. And then we see the hallucination of Lucille.
Yeah.
Which actually, if anyone has played the Walking Dead video games, reminds me of a character from the first season of the Walking Dead video game.
Telltale, right?
Telltale.
Yeah,
I cannot remember her name. She is in Savannah, and she's one of the only living people in Savannah. And she has like almost like a pickaxe tool that she uses to get like up on top of buildings and stuff. And so when you first see her, you just see flashes of her like running in the background. And this very much brought up that for me when I was watching. It reminded me of that character. So I thought that was an interesting, probably not even an intentional nod, but just kind of a cool thing. And we get to see Lucille again, which was great. It's nice to see Hillary Burton. I'll call her Hillary Burton Morgan, although I know her as Hillary Burton because she was in One Tree Hill many, many years ago. And then it was nice to see Annie. I was excited. They paid the actress. I was so happy. I was like, oh, good. She got money. She got paid. And it was nice to kind of have him hear from these people, even though none of it is real, that he has done enough for them. It was kind of gratifying in a way. So I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. This is probably my favorite part of the show was all the stuff with Negan in the hospital.
Yeah, no, I agreed. Jeff, what you thought about the crazy days up to Negan's hallucination to the loved ones, sir? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't have as much to say really about. I think Bridget really, said quite a few things already about the hallucination scenes with Negan. They're okay. I mean, I get what they're trying to accomplish with that whole deal, with his character, and Bridget makes a good point. It is good world building, good character building, for his show, for his character, adding more depth to his character, and that's good for him, it's good for the show. As far as the child walkers just standing in one spot, and being entranced or whatever, the one really scary looking one had her eyes open and was looking right at Negan,
Yeah.
And and it was pretty scary, because you're thinking at any given time one of those kids is gonna attack him. You know what I mean? I don't know, him just pushing right through him the way he was doing it. That was kind of weird. He was surfing. He was surfing them.
All I could think was, thank God he's wearing a leather jacket because it's the only thing protecting his body.
That's dangerous, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's just running right through him like it's football or whatever. Or whatever. Come on now. That's pretty much it, I guess. I mean, that was really very, very scary. Great use of walkers. It is pretty far out there. It is pretty far fetched that walkers would suddenly just hang out and be stand in one spot like that. I don't see why a child walker would do that. You know what I mean? But as far fetched as it is, it's still really cool. And really added something really neat to the episode. I thought. And I wouldn't mind if they revisited that again at some point. You know what I mean? That would be cool. I'd be down with that. I like the whole sleeping walkers deal. You know what I mean? It's pretty tense. Shit. And everything looked great during this part of the episode. I like the hospital scenes with Negan really, a lot. I thought that they were really, really, really scary, and the looked really cool. We're very like Walking Dead-ish. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Those kids. Yeah, I totally. Yeah, it's been a while. I seen the classic Night of the Living Dead and the remake. Yes, that was the first time we had like a kid zombie. And because this Friday is 28 years later. The first movie we had like an infected kid attacking Jim. If you guys know what I was talking about, it's that scene during the trip that they were going to the meet up with the military and stuff like that. Yeah, I never saw like kids, a bunch of kids.
There are a lot of child walkers in The Walking Dead. Honestly, you don't see them. You don't see them very often.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like
I was argued against this fact on our show.
Yeah,
they're like, we see them all the time, Dave. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't.
You don't.
It's like once, like I brought up Sophie, Carol's daughter, deceased daughter in season
Teddy Bear
2.
Walker, Sophia, right?
Yeah.
The Railroad Tracks girl that I talked about earlier.
It was a boy.
Gus Walker. What?
It was a boy, but yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the Gus Walker, which we saw, like on the Alexandria Gates. But after that, it's not much.
No,
not really much after. It's just that it's painted so significantly, like it's so shocking. For they make it so shocking that like, oh my god,
yeah,
it's a child walker.
By not doing it very often, it's pretty novel when it does happen. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, like from the girl from the pilot, and Sophie was like between seasons, but like. It was far enough for me to forget. Like we never really experienced kids, zombies, and so it was a really great novelty to see like a group of kid zombies. Because
I don't think kid walkers survive.
No,
right?
You know what I'm
saying? Like that's why we don't see them. I think they don't survive.
No, they can easily
so
be killed.
Useless.
Yeah, so useless. I mean, yeah, I was surprised Sophie got bitten. When we got to her, in the season 2, when she was the walker, I was like, whoa, okay. I thought they'd probably eat her, something like that.
You could always randomly get bitten on The Walking Dead during that time period, like that was like that was a reality on the show at any given time, you get bit.
Yeah. Well, sometimes with these walkers, they will beat you, but then they will eat you like if there's like a horde of walkers, then they will eat you alive. That's one thing I want to be mentioned. Yes, if it's only one walker, yes, they will bite you. But if there's a horde, they will like come after you and like just literally eat you alive.
There's less person to eat. They're so small.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I tried to just keep my mind like, okay, how these walkers do compared to like other zombies. I mean. Like the infected from Last of Us is like, I mean, and I know the infected for 20 days is like completely different. They're not even zombies, but like they even attack you. Anyway, let's get back to the recap, people. Let me just get myself seeing where we're left out. Oh, correct. So we were gonna leave here. So the Korak and Maggie make it to the glass bridge. Okay. This was like Mission Impossible beats Final Destination, right? Like this is just like I don't know how Maggie made it through there, but it was crazy. So without the fear, the Korak crosses it first. That was very selfish of him to do. Like, come on, just walk for her, I don't know why, but Maggie is terrified, and this is where I think Lauren Cohen did a really good job of acting. Like really scared, like she really pulled off the scary of like being in height, especially with the glass underneath you. It's like very hard to even escape that. And she has this like a vertical kind of feel to it. Like she was kind of like having this like vertical feel where she was like having dizziness because of like the height was just making her like feel nauseating and like claustrophobic, like stuff like that, like made her like lose her balance, and while she was unable to move on with the Korak, the walkers start like suddenly attack her in that glass, which was really awful, and that like it literally caused the glass to begin to break under their weight, which was kind of scary. And the Korak was screaming for her to like now, but Maggie fights through her fears, which is great, yesterday, Batman Begins anniversary was yesterday, the 15th. Yeah, you want to conquer your fear? Guess what? Maggie conquered her fear of heights. I'm so proud of my girl here. So she was able to slowly crawl across the glass in the most intense scene of the season, which I agree with Collider recap here. And with the Korak saving her life by pushing the ladder out to her right. Okay, what you were doing, I think I was kind of like surprised before the glass breaks. So that scene was good. I gotta say that was a really fun action scene here. Just give me a minute here. Okay. Then after that, Maggie and Korak now walk into the safe house. No one was there. Maggie wants to know why she was brought here. And this was interesting to see. And she does it's funny with Batman thing. She does her Batman thing, or just whatever action movie you want to think of right here. She, interrogates Korak in such a brutal way by pulling him outside of the window. And Korak came here to die. He confesses that he needs Maggie to do it for him. And so this was like a long ploy for her to get angry and like make him like get killed in some horrible way. I mean, I don't blame him. I think he did like probably the smartest thing that any human did is just trick someone and like get her angry and like kill me, please. We saw this whole episode. He just did not care. He lost a lot of purpose, after last episode. So when that reveal happened, I was like, oh, good idea, Korak. I love your idea. It's kind of stupid, but you want to die, for Maggie, but okay, go ahead. You're the man. I like that. But she, she refuses to do it, because, knowing that Harrison has to be there, she stares down the street below for a long time, feeling the temptation to jump. Like, again, paralleling her situation of, well, it's different, but like it's paralleling like how the analogy of like jumping to like the stairs because it caused her for fear. Here is almost like a little thing where she wants to jump to his death, like literally. And like I thought that was like a very funny and cool way to like parallel that whole thing. So that was really neat. And so, but before before he does that, the Korak pulls her back up, right? And then at the night, the Korak talks about Maggie about his mother leaving him when he was a child. So that was a really interesting reveal about that. That was really neat. And then when he grew up, he found her 2 days after she died, living just 10 kilometers away. Very sad moment. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, first you lost your purpose. Now you're telling me this tragic story about you and your mom is like, fuck me. This is like, they're really they're not pulling strings. It's like, here's the Korak's backstory. You are like, I feel sorry for my boy here. It's just sad. So the Korak lived in this building, hiding and contemplating death until he found the Dhamma. So that was interesting. So this safe house is the same place he's been in for a while, but then Dhamma find him there and gave him new purpose and like life. And so that was really interesting. And her gift was seeing pain and knowing what to do with it. Okay, I guess so. But I mean, she was a good manipulator. We have to say, like the way she uses Negan and the Korak, she was a good manipulator of how to like pump up the people, just the closest for her to like make these plans work, so, something we saw, with some villains, like the Joker did this in Dark Knight. Like he say he was not a player, but he was, but he just uses people to like get to his point, like Two-Face. Like, it wasn't like he wanted to defeat Batman in a physical way. It was more of a philosophical way that people can be corrupted. And so Two-Face was, ironically, the ace in the hole. So that's what Dhamma was trying to do with Korak. Like he was just the pawn of her games and all that, tried to do to build up this army with Negan and stuff like that. So just wrapping up, I'm just wrapping up like the full episode here. So looking across getting to the twist, looking across the skyline, Maggie sees the light at the building. The source of light was at the New York Times. That was cool. I agree with Jeff here. This was the first time they were using New York in a good way. So that was good. So, and the Korak, and her went over there, but the Korak doesn't go with Maggie, and this isn't about him. So that was kind of cool. I hope we'll see him again next episode, maybe, but we'll see. So he shakes Maggie's hand and walks away. So really great, journey with him. I thought this was, I think, the best episode with the Korak. Like, we learned so much about him and like how he got to be him, the Korak, and like what he does. I think I would say this was definitely my favorite part of this episode. So Maggie goes in and she finds Herschel standing in the room, pointing a flashlight outside. He's shocked to see his mother and goes to her, a smile on his face. But they embrace, but both apologize because something happened. And it's like he does the Midsummer Ari Aster, or something like sinister. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm happy you're here, but there's more to this. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, Hartzell Jr.? And of course, pardon my French here, folks. Fuck me. I was not expecting this. It looks like everything was going to be okay. And then someone come from attack Maggie, and it was Dama. She's not dead after all. I was like, what the hell? She's not dead? I was dumbfounded. I had to drink like a bunch of like I was.
Did you pass out seeing the Dama? You just
I did like
lost
a
consciousness.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and like birds were like floating in my head. I was like, what
Tweety birds.
Tweety birds, exactly.
That's where the CG
like,
budget went.
Oh yeah, that's where it went. And I was like, oh my god. I thought a second Dama did came back, but then I saw the behind scenes, then I was like, oh yeah, he did keep back. Fuck. I was like, oh my god. I don't know what to feel about this. I'll just say I was not happy to see Dama again, but at the same time, I'm like, that was a pretty cool twist. I didn't expect her to die. I mean, we saw the dead body in the beginning of this episode. I was like, how she did it. Now I'm like they have to answer this, and so I'm curious what they're gonna give us this finale.
You asked that too, Bridget, right? Like, how did he even do this?
Well, I said, what do you just got, like dead burnt
dead bodies
lying
Put a
around?
bunch of chunky shoes on her and a Fester outfit.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious how they're gonna pull this off this next week. It's like, what was her answer? Is this someone that like randomly came into the fire, rescue her, and then like she kills him? Like, I don't know. It's gonna be a crazy thing. So anyway, that's the final piece of the episode. A lot of things they did this episode. It was just like, okay, you thought this was a normal episode, but the fact that they this is technically a what's the word? Penultimate episode to the finale.
Mm-hmm.
This was very good to like leave it like this, and I think they did a really good job of this. So let me go with Jeff. What do you thought about the twist, sir? What do you thought about this half section of the final episode, sir? Go ahead. It's all yours.
I like the glass, bridge there, deal or whatever scene type thing with Maggie. That was really good, really effective. Some of her like fainting spells were kind of stupid during the episode, like Bridget said. Like her like fear of heights shit or whatever during the at least with the glass bridge scenes, I thought was more believable. It was like, okay, like that makes sense. I get that. Why you would be frozen. I like that. The walkers were scary. The one walker almost had her leg almost bit her. Almost. Then they fell down. And like the bridge collapsed in the one section. The Korak really came through for Maggie on that shit. Saved her life. So hats off to him. And Negan came back, and Ginny's okay. She's alive. She's gonna make it. She's a trooper, and it looked like Maggie got stabbed there at the end by the Dama. Didn't it look like she was stabbed? She stabbed her. That's what I thought. It looked like a stabbing motion. I don't know.
I don't know.
Or like a Billy Jack from the old days.
The old days, yeah. I was like, bam, like a cartoon, like one
like
of those
a bag of nickels.
Yeah, I don't know. It was.
I
weird.
don't know. I could have swore I thought she stabbed her.
I don't know. It was so dark in that scene when like Herschel turned off the light. It was like I couldn't see anything.
the scenes with Herschel were ominous. You knew something was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it was like the minute that she saw Herschel, it was like, what? It was like, get out of there, Maggie.
He was too at peace. Like
he was really ominous. He was really
hello,
ominous.
mother.
He's like,
everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay.
I'm here now.
I'm here now.
I love you, mommy. What is happening?
and then they revealed, the Kerouac revealed that like he willingly gave up his toe so they could cut his toe off or whatever, you know.
Earlier, yeah. So Maggie should have been on her, but she's tired. She's not thinking straight. Clearly,
her game's off. You know.
Yeah.
She drank some bad water or something, you know.
I don't know, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think she drank the pity. Was it the pity juice?
They don't. You don't ever see her ever drink water on Dead City.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
To be fair, the waters could be contaminated, right?
You gotta drink water, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
PSA.
Yeah. I don't know,
folks. Drink water.
Drink water. Yes.
Yeah.
Water. Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. I gotta say, the kid that plays Herschel Jr. did a great job of being very
creepy
off.
as fuck.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here? Like when she's like, hello, Mom, I'm so happy you're here, and like, oh my god, fucking something's gonna happen here.
Guys.
Walker. Yeah, like it was so like
it was
creepy.
very Norman Bates.
Yes, it really was.
A mini Norman Bates.
Yeah, I could totally see that with Herschel. Anything else, Jeff?
Just the Dabo was medicine looking, man. I thought I couldn't tell if she was a walker or what. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
More than one person said that, right, Bridget? Somebody thought it was a walker Dama.
Yeah,
I felt like
I mean, not
that.
that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought because it's a fucking walk. It's like Dead City. It's Walking Dead City. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, you never know. You know, like Herschel Jr. is such a fucking shitty character. I could see him hanging out with his fucking zombie.
That is definitely something someone said.
Yeah,
on the show.
That would not shock. It would not shock me.
He's gonna be the second kid after that girl from season 4. Like she has this like special connection with the walker. I'm like, no,
Lizzie,
yes. I think first show is gonna be that maybe, but I don't know. We'll
have a relationship with the walker.
Yeah, and then poor Maggie will do the thing like Carol's like, look at the flowers, kid. And I'm like, oh god, not again. Yikes. You know, it's not gonna be the flowers. It's gonna be this big ass tree, and then I was like, oh god. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Mom, peep my girlfriend. It's a fucking walker.
It's an old lady, actually. This is my girlfriend.
Dama. Oh my god, no.
Check out this gilf behind me.
Yeah, Dama.
Gross.
Oh my god. Anything else, sir?
No, I was thinking, can you imagine if Dama got pregnant?
My god.
I would love to see that, actually.
Or it's gonna be the Dawn of the Dead remake situation, and she has the baby zombie.
The zombie baby.
Oh my god!
That's Glenn's grandchild.
Oh, no.
I can't hate it. It's Glenn's grandchild.
Yeah, she's gonna.
I definitely want to see this.
Yeah, and she's gonna do the Shaun of the Dead. It's like she's gonna keep it in an attic or somewhere, and like, it's like raise the kid. Oh my god. Okay, thank you, Jeff. I think we
first episode of Z Nation, by the way. I was gonna say they started with dead babies.
Yeah, they did start with
undead babies.
Zombie
my god, I need to see this now.
You need to watch it. You really do.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna plan that now. Anyway, Bridget, let me go to you. What do you thought about this last section of the episode? You like it? Dislike it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I liked the fact that we're finally getting back to this like land bridges, pedestrian bridge, kind of this skywalk that was referenced so early by the drawings that Herschel had done. There's a very small detail in this that I really enjoyed. The Croat tells Maggie, sprawl out as far as you can, like you would on a frozen lake.
Distribute.
And she just kind of stares at him because we have to, lest you forget, this girl's from Georgia. Okay?
Yeah.
She ain't ever been on a frozen lake in her life. I grew up in the South. I still live in the South now. I remember I lived in the Midwest as a teen, and the first time I stepped on frozen ice, I was terrified because like all I knew about it was that in cartoons, people fell through ice and it was like a whole thing. And that you would probably die if you stepped on ice. So it was like quicksand, you know? I assumed it was going to be a much bigger problem than it actually was in my life. And so that was just like a really nice detail that she wouldn't really know to disperse her weight, because it's not something that you have to know when you grow up in Georgia. You live in Georgia your whole life. I liked it. I felt creeped out by Herschel because he's a weird dude, because he just is. And he was in the comics. He was also weird, so just it makes sense. And I am mad that the Dumb is back, and I hate her, and I hate her face, and I hate her stupid hair, and I hate her Uncle Fester jacket. And I just hope she does something this next episode. That's all I hope. She already hit Maggie over the head, so like we're already up a notch than we have been thus far. So
It's crazy. Like you thought, I am so speechless. It's like, what the hell happened here? It's like what is it? Last 5 or 6 episodes, it's just like just getting through the motions. Like that's my feeling about this season. Just going through the motion, and then this one, it's just like it just came all together. So like I agree with you, Bridget. You brought up like it just took out a lot of the meat, which just didn't not like this last 2 half seasons. I'm very curious. They're gonna pull it up. Dave, you're next, sir. Your thoughts on this last section of the episode? Go ahead. It's your floor.
Yes. So I want to join 2 things, and that's obviously both sides of the Croat story. Is that he tells Maggie, "My mother was my protector," blah, blah, and then later on he says, "Oh yeah, she left me when I was very, very young." I think he said, didn't he basically say 10 years old? Similar to Benjamin Pierce and all these other, the apocalypse happened at 10 years old and they grew up, and then Dead said he kills them all for some reason, except for Benjamin Pierce, maybe in the next episode.
Yeah.
But it's very ironic because he speaks about his mother with reverence. He has his ashes on her, and he spent so much of his life trying to find his mother, only to reach her 2 days after she passes. And it goes to what this episode, or this series, or this season at least, has been saying all along. Mostly in reference to Negan, sure, but also other themes that pop up, is that we choose to remember our history differently. Or maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought it was, or maybe it was more terrible than we could have ever imagined. And when you think about the Croat and how he chooses to see his past, he doesn't acknowledge when it comes to his mother that his mother abandoned him. He chooses to remember the protector, the person who thought he had a chance at being an engineer. Meanwhile, holy crap, objectively speaking, what a bitch. But doesn't that show that the Croat, at least pre-apocalypse, was somebody who saw the positive? And then now, post-apocalypse, you think of the last episode and how his own brother, Buraz, kicked him out. Not only did he abandon the Croat, he kicked him out. And now, so that's why he's feeling so dumpy right now, and he wants to die. Similar to Maggie, similar to Negan, Death Wish Negan. So I bring this up only to say the following, because there is also a parallel between the Croat and Herschel in a sense too, because again, they're similar ages, whatever. Son who was protected by his own mother, but kind of abandoned him ever since he was a baby, kind of like checked out. This is Herschel's perspective. But really, I wanted to say the following. Melee brings Maggie to the Twisted. I'm going to read it out loud. To the Twisted Skybridge path, she could do let me say that again. Melee brings Maggie to the Twisted Skybridge Tower so that she could do what he couldn't off him, right? Kill him and reunite with his mother or the rest of his family, right? The mother with whom he has reverence, etc. But the parallel between Herschel and the Croat is not only the strong bond between he and his mother, right, real or imagined, but that Herschel too needs the Dhamma to do what he can't possibly do, which is what? it's possible that Herschel wants the Dama to kill Maggie.
No
because,
way.
Because Herschel, this is just me throwing it out there, see if it sticks, because it really frightens me, the idea. Because you saw the creepy Norman Bates stare.
Yeah.
He's like, I love you, mommy. You know, all that stuff. And then, wouldn't it make sense, though? Like, it's the cause of and solution to all my problems. I love my mom. I don't want her to die. And yet, at the same time, I can't do it. I don't want to watch her do it. I want this woman to do it. This woman, she will free me from the very cause of and solution to all my problems. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I can be free to be whoever I want to be. Because Maggie being there, even the idea of her being out there makes it so that I can't
die. Maggie can't die.
I don't know. Because everybody's saying Negan's going to die at the end of the season.
No.
Or some people have said that. I'd be like, wouldn't it be something?
They can't die. They're the co-leads of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be impactful if they did?
Sure.
Yeah, but everything she's been through. What a twist.
What happens to the show then, though, you know?
It's like The Last of Us.
Oh.
Yeah, sure.
That did not work out well.
Yes, true.
Arguable. We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see.
Streaming media and DVD copies will take it, or Blu-ray. Wow, it dated. Will tell. Buy a DVD. What is this? 1997? Jeez.
Oh my god. I don't know. That would be very daring for this show.
I'm not saying she'll get it done. I'm just saying if the idea alone that Herschel would do this is the thing. I mean, I'm with you, Jeff. I don't think it'll happen, but the fact that it's happening, that it's in the process of happening, this is her baby. This is the thing she just fought hard to protect for almost 2 entire seasons, and the very thing that is turning against her now. Possibly. I'm not saying it's true, but that's fucked up. Fucked up.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. I gotta say, you know, I can see in a twisted way, Herschel will probably die realistically, right? Because we talked about how kids are, you know, they always get killed in this universe. I can see Herschel dying because, you know, because I can see like the fact that his genie is gonna survive like after this is kind of like I can see maybe Maggie adopting her, you know, because of like Negan doesn't want Ginny to be with him. It makes sense because you brought it up, and I like the idea, which the show hasn't done. If they are gonna get rid of Herschel Jr., it could be, you know, Ginny would be the new, you know, stepchild and the one that she can like fix and like, you know, because like I understand why Herschel goes with the Dama because like he feels like that kind of love and tension that Maggie hasn't given to him, you know, with the situation, right? And yeah, so I think that, you know, makes a lot of sense. Anything else to say, Dave? I think we kind of covered everything. Anything else to say, sir? I mean,
I could say a lot of things. There's a lot of parallels between like right when Mile Jurkovic, by the way, sees the candle. He talks about seeing the Dama's candle in the window because right after he couldn't off himself from the building, which Maggie almost did, he says he wandered the streets and then he came across the candle in the Dama's window at the St. King Francis Theater. And then just then you see Herschel's signal at the other side of the building, which, by the way, we'd seen this motif in the title sequence in season 1, but if you look at the title sequence, you can see like a spotlight going through the window early in the title sequence. So that actually now has relevance. So I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah,
like it makes sense now. Like make sense, and here we are. So,
yeah,
but I don't have too much to tell. You guys really covered it, and I have so many other heady things to talk about, but it's like not even worth bringing it up. You guys nailed it.
No. I thank you, Dave. I just want to say this was a fun podcast. I want to do this was the first time I was like, we actually laughed. We made jokes. I was like, hallelujah! It's the best episode. I'm gonna tell Jeff after this. Like, we're gonna title this TWD Dead City episode 7 live recap breakdown. Best episode ever of Walking Dead. That's how we're gonna title this live stream. You know, for you guys is like
Glenn's grandbaby. That should be in the title somewhere.
Please, I don't want to think of it. It's so the dead zombie grandson. Oh my god, that grandchild.
Sure.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Live or dead, I'll take both.
Yeah.
As long as it's the Dama is the
no,
one.
yeah, that's the mom. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just Dama. Oh my god, Dama. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us today on The Walking Dead Dead Cities Episode 7 live recap breakdown. Thank you so much, Dave and Bridget, coming back. This was so much fun. It was great talking to you guys about this episode. I hope you guys enjoy yourself. Sorry about the time, but I hope you guys enjoyed yourself again with this episode. And I just want to thank everyone for joining me. I'm gonna now give it to Jeff to plug this out. And the ratings. Sorry, the ratings. I totally forgot about. I'm curious about the ratings here. Bridget, let me start with you first. What's your rating for this episode?
I don't know. There were a lot of really great moments, so I'm gonna err on the side of like going higher than lower. I'm gonna say 8 out of 10.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 8.
Interesting.
Okay.
It wasn't perfect. I took issue with some things, but I liked a lot of it.
I was expecting lower, but interesting.
Yeah. No, I can see where she's coming from. Dave, your rating.
I mean, nothing's a perfect 10, really, essentially, but I would go like 9 point. I'll use a Barstool Sports Pizza. One bite, everybody knows the rules. I'll use a 9.4. Sorry, I had to channel that energy.
How's that guy pulling his suitcase?
Oh my god.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna know. Boston accent. I don't have it.
Oh my god. Boston accent. Jeff, you're ready, sir.
I guess I'll go with a 9. A 9's good.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Son.
I'm surprised about this. Yeah, for me, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I
just had to go higher than Bridget. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's the lowest.
I
love it.
I'm with Bridget here. I'm like, I like these. You know why? It's frustrating for me. It's like, where was this episode for this whole season? That's the thing. And I cannot give it a 9 out of 10. It's because it's like, were you?
That's no problem. I'm just laughing that you made just a higher score than Bridget.
I know. I'll give credit.
He prices righted me.
Yeah, I know.
He said, "What did she say?"
And $1.
$1.
400 401.
I was gonna be daring like Dave. I was like maybe 8.9 out of 10, but no, I was like 8.5 out of 10. It makes a lot of sense.
That's my favorite episode of the season so far, really.
Yeah. It was so good. I felt like it was the most horror episode ever in the Walking Dead series. Like Walking Dead is a horror series, and I felt like this was the first time I felt like this show was a horror show, and they were using so many things that I wasn't thinking about in terms of like use these ideas as a horror concept. Like Maggie using the fear of heights makes a lot of sense for a horror movie, and like I like how they use it in this episode. And Negan, I felt like there was a lot of drama to this episode, was really good. And yeah, and it was just like I didn't like the storylines, like the fact that the less interesting storyline was not in this episode shows that they really missed the mark here, and this is what they should have focused on this whole season, was Maggie and Negan's journey separately, and use some obstacles to like explore them. I don't know, but we'll see. So thank you everyone. Thank you for your ratings. Jeff, please plug this out. I think we're ready.
These guys have been recording for like 4 hours, so we'll skip plugs and we'll just get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it's good.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you.